Since fictional alien invaders did this to the White House in the blockbuster Independence Day, has a U.S. president's views on extraterrestrial life drawn as much attention as Barack Obama's did this weekend when he was asked on a podcast,
"Are aliens real?"
They're real, but I haven't seen them, and they're not being kept in what is it?
Area 51.
Area 51. There's no underground facility, unless there's this enormous conspiracy, and they hid it from the President of the United States.
That answer quickly generating 26 million views online and lots of follow-up questions.
Is this something that we should be concerned about?
Back in 2007, candidate Obama sounded far less certain about life beyond Earth.
I don't know, and I don't presume to know.
What was the first question you wanted answered when you became president?
Where are the aliens?
Where are the aliens?
But the former president, who has long declared himself a fan of Star Trek's highly logical alien Spock, quickly clarifying, "I saw no evidence during my presidency that extraterrestrials have made contact with us, really." So the truth, it seems, may still be out there, but Barack Obama, just like the rest of us, doesn't know it for sure. Really.
And Garrett Haake joins us tonight from the White House. So, Garrett, we got a sense of what the former president had to say about aliens, but what about President Trump? Has he sort of dabbled in these UFO waters?
He's dabbled, and he's been asked about it repeatedly, Tom, over the years, and this is another issue on which these two presidents disagree. President Trump, as recently as during the campaign, was asked about UFOs and aliens. He said he's seen lots of evidence, but he himself is not a believer, and for what it's worth, there is actually pretty good polling on this, Tom, but 65% of Americans say they believe in some capacity that we are not alone out there.
We thank you for watching, and remember, stay updated on breaking news and top stories on the NBC News app or watch live on our YouTube.
The word is, when Disclosure Day happens, that Donald Trump will be the one to announce it. So what are we to derive from Barack Obama coming out this week and trying to get ahead of the game? Are there consistent themes in this interview that we can cross-reference with what's already been said? Was he just trying to steal the glory from Trump? Is there really a message that's supposed to be announced about aliens being real? Pressure is mounting, and even to the point the press is now asking the White House about it. Let's talk about fallen angel technology, dreams of prominent figures, and what biology, I believe, could be used to fool us next on Red Line Live. All right, so I put together some consistencies that I thought, if you did watch the documentary show, Disclosure, but one of the things that really stood out to me was the fact that all of these congressmen and everything said that what was being done by these corporations in the background is keeping secret and keeping hidden from the most highest offices in the land, including the president, what we know is going to be disclosed as alien technology, possibly, right? Alien life, non-human life forms that they're supposed to come out with. And it's interesting in that opening newscast there that Trump said he saw evidence, but he wasn't a believer himself. Now, it's crazy to me that it's come out so hard this week to talk about it after what Barack Obama said, because his clip went viral, right? And so just listening to what we saw come out this week is really made me curious about whether or not this is real. And I've almost jumped on the bandwagon for the fact that everybody in the prophetic space here has been saying that, you know, Trump is going to be the one to come out and talk about this stuff and release this stuff. But Some of the stuff that I found today, as a matter of fact, is going to be jaw-dropping and revealing for you all. But one of the clips that came out was the press conference, literally by Caroline Leavitt, just yesterday or the day before, I believe. And she was asked by the press right there in the press briefing room that very question. Check it out.
Obama, Caroline, was recently asked if aliens are real. He says they're real, but he hasn't seen them. The president's daughter-in-law, Lara Trump, told Miranda Devine of the New York Post that the president has a prepared speech on this issue that he prepares to deliver at the right time. Is that true? And does the Trump administration believe aliens are real?
Well, a speech on aliens would be news to me. That sounds very exciting, though. I'll have to check in with our speech writing team. And that would be of great interest to me personally, and I'm sure all of you in this room, and apparently former President Obama, too. So we'll keep you posted on that.
So she's revealing there that apparently the White House doesn't know anything about this, right? But what I find interesting in this whole thing is some of the research I did today was, and I'm going to bring up some other clips here for you, that it talks about Congressman Eric Burlinson was given the go-ahead and the green light by President Trump to go ahead and get special access to look into these areas, just like Barack Obama said there, where he did not see any underground bunkers at Area 51. But this congressman is going to go out and try to get access to these places so that they can reveal this stuff. There's evidence that apparently Trump's daughter-in-law has come out and said that they're planning to have a speech probably in July. Now I'm hearing that that's going to be moved up to May, but there's still denial on the part of the White House that this is even a thing. So skepticism is at the highest end of this for me, but I think it's probably not going to be Trump that is going to be revealing this. I think it's going to be a congressman, or I think it's going to be one of these corporations that come out that are actually making the technology for this type of stuff, and they're going to be the ones to reveal it. Either one of the congressmen, or because Trump doesn't have the special access, and they're not going to give it to him. These corporations are the ones that are making money off of this stuff, and so they don't want to reveal it to the president because they're scared. I think they're scared that he would reveal it. Because Trump, he wants the glory on all of this stuff, and he wants to be the first to talk about it. But I think either way, it's going to come out because they're pursuing this, right? And so I want to pull up this clip here, but this clip here talks about how Eric Burlinson has gotten the go-ahead and the green light to go ahead and look
All right.
into.
Our top news headline was a big one, and I will certainly get to it, but check this out. Our top news headline is this. That looks cartoonish, but it's as real as it could possibly get. President Trump has greenlighted disclosure, okay, of UFOs, believe it or not, the existence of UFOs, and they do exist, all right? UAPs, UFOs, and a lot of things need to come forward, not just the Epstein revelations, but the technology that is out there that exists. So President Trump is now green-lighted. This is per a congressperson, okay? Green-lighted disclosure of UFOs, of guess what else? Non-human bodies, right? And secret bases hiding crashed ships. There is a lot to understand in this regard. But it just so happens, ladies and gentlemen, that I was going to have one of the world's foremost experts who just so happens to be now a senior advisor on QUX Technologies, which I'm a principal partner in, working on some very, very big projects. But he's now a senior on the senior advisory board as one of the world's top post-quantum physicists. And he was going to come on and talk about some things. Now, there have been stuff declassified because Dr. Jack Sarfati, who I'm going to be interviewing here, we have to push it out a little bit further. Dr. Jack Sarfati is in the CIA's archives, has worked with the Central Intelligence Agency's Stargate program. And if you're not familiar with it, you're going to get to know all about it. He's a very, very important person. Probably one of the most important people that I will have ever interviewed since doing this in 2011. But as of right now, we're going to cover this, and I'm going to have the conversation with Dr. Jack Sarfati. I know what he's currently has been working on for his entire career. But President Trump greenlighting UFO disclosure of secret bases hiding crashed ships, non-human bodies, says a U.S. congressman. And given the green light to this, to one of the leading voices in Congress, right? U.S. Congressman Eric Burleson of Missouri revealed that he has requested and been granted access to secure locations such as Area 51, which have decades-old ties to UFOs and secret government projects. Are they at Area 51? We don't know. But we shouldn't we? Do we not have a right to know this stuff? You know, all the rich and powerful elites, they think they can just run all over us. They can just grab our young girls and diddle them and make billions of dollars like Jeffrey Epstein. This is a higher level of Jeffrey Epstein. Of course, Jeffrey Epstein news is important. Most of it being covered up. UFOs or demons? Are there good UFOs? Is there life, in the galaxy? Do we know that? I believe we deserve to know. Burleson said that the request of President Trump and his staff included visiting U.S. military bases and facilities where evidence exists of unidentified crafts, materials, bodies, and archives that allegedly exist. Burleson is a member of the Congressional Oversight Committee involved in the ongoing investigation into unidentified, anomalous phenomenon, UAPs, right? Or known as UFOs.
Notice how he said allegedly exist, right? So they haven't had any evidence come out yet. But as I had talked about in my previous shows, that this stuff is going to start coming out and people are freaking out that it's actually going to be alien. The interesting part about what Pete says here is he has a guy come on. I'm going to show you a clip here in a little bit that this guy has been in the high echelon of corporations and helping with quantum stuff like that for decades. And he even says that this technology is man-made. And just like I had told you before, that this stuff is things that they have put together from years past experience from back in, the 70s, even before the 70s. They knew about this stuff. They just didn't have the capacity to put it together. And now that we have quantum computing, they're actually putting this stuff together. And it's pretty crazy. So we're going to start seeing this stuff. So one way or another, there's going to be a disclosure, right? Just like Pete is saying here, whether it just be machinery right off the bat, or they try to introduce some sort of non-human entity, right? Whatever it might be, I think more than likely it's going to be some sort of technology that comes out in mechanics itself. But I think there's some other stuff that's going to be involved in. I want to get in here later, but let's finish this up.
You guys, this will become a major revelation. Because I've asked the question, and I will ask the question of Dr. Jack Sarfati, and I know the answer that he's going to give. So you don't want to miss this. I'm gonna be featuring this. I asked him the question if it was extraterrestrial or man-made, and he will answer that question absolutely definitively. He's worked at the highest levels of our government. You can actually go look him up at the CIA reading room. Go type in the name Dr. Jack Sarfati and his involvement and his writings, his teachings as a professor as well. But he's worked for the CIA in this regard. He's worked on the Stargate program. He is a post-quantum physicist that is at the leading edge of understanding the most powerful technology and physics behind the answers to these questions that we have. Although the U.S. government and the Pentagon have officially denied that there's any physical evidence of UFOs or alien life ever recovered, Congress has heard from multiple whistleblowers claiming secret programs have been covering up the truth.
And just like you saw in that news clip there, the correspondent from the White House was saying the exact same thing, that Trump himself has saw evidence, but he himself is not a believer, right? So what kind of evidence has Trump seen? So obviously they didn't withhold everything from the president, and maybe they even showed more to Trump than they ever did to Barack Obama. And it's I don't know if it's a trust thing on the part of the corporations or if it's something that they want to control themselves. Either way, Trump has saw something, and he has given the green light for Eric Burlinson to pursue and see what he can find.
And they are covering up the truth. Why is that? This is what I believe, and we will get to the bottom of this. There will be disclosure. Guaranteed there will be disclosure as to what the truth is. These corporations have taken the technology, and us government, lowly, people are just paying the bill. They're able to take the technology, keep the intellectual property, cover everything up. Harry Reid actually was instrumental in keeping it so secret from the government, from we the people, that only these corporations that have the inside scoop that can profit off of it are holding it to themselves. Can you imagine that? At our expense. So as Trump insiders have allegedly leaked that the White House is planning to reveal what America knows about extraterrestrials by July. By July, the UAP committee may soon have the...
By July, and now I'm hearing from other reports that it's going to be possibly moved up to May because word is that Trump is rededicating the United States of America back to God, right? A new covenant for the nation back to God. And a lot of people are thinking that is when he is going to make the reveal. But we don't know yet. We don't know anything. So there's this back and forth, especially with the things that I've been researching. Am I a believer or am I not a believer? Ugh. There's some stuff that I think that's going to come out. I'm going to get in here in a little bit. That I think is going to tie in, is really going to spark your interest, I think. But let's finish.
Physical proof of non-human intelligence in their hands. Deb, is this not exciting? Yeah, I think they're the ones.
It's very exciting.
It's very exciting. So we will be doing, and you know how excited I am to, because my conversations with Dr. Jack Sarfati last night, and the upcoming one. It's going to happen after we go to. Actually, you guys will be watching Secret America and Flyover Conservatives. I'll be doing the interview. You'll be able to catch that. It's going to be a big. It'll actually be my biggest interview.
Okay, so he actually pre-recorded his interview with Dr. Jack Sarfati, right? And so I actually watched this whole thing. It was like almost 3 hours long, and they They don't actually get to the answer that I was looking for till the very end. And now they're going to carry on that conversation through a couple of different series in that matter. But this guy's story is phenomenal, all the way back from when he was supposedly recruited when he was 13 in 1953, right? And he's telling a story about it. But let me show you this clip here with Jack Sarfati real quick, from Pete's show. He did a separate interview, but listen to what Jack has to say here, just as a reason to spark your curiosity in the mix of this whole thing, because it's about to get crazy.
I've asked you the question I want to ask you once again, because there's a reason why we've come together, and it's not just because, we were, reading books or sharing, X posts. Not at all. There's a reason why we've come together.
At a time. Yeah.
Yes.
It's destiny. It's destiny.
It is. And I asked you the question because I'm so fascinated by the answer to the question. UAPs, that the government has been kept secret. The technology, the materials, the engineering, all of it has been kept from even the government at the highest levels. I remember Harry Reid actually locked a lot of that secrecy down in favor of the corporations that own the intellectual property. But I said, is UAP or UFO technology, is it man-made or is it extraterrestrial? And what did you tell me?
It's it's a little bit of both. It's Jack Sarfati made. It's time travel. You got to remember, it's stuff that we're developing now.
Yes.
Okay, that goes back.
All right. Here's my next question. Your understanding, deep understanding, post quantum understanding of time travel. Time and space. Everyone's going to learn about this over time. If you're fascinated right now, trust me, you will be even more so in the future. But sir, time travel and anti-gravitic propulsion and all that stuff. But here's the most important question. AI, you were working on AI. At what year did you understand the term artificial intelligence?
1953.
1953. Your study of artificial intelligence. And at the time, and I understood, and in the late 80s, the National Science Foundation said for what we want to do in the future, we can't afford to build the infrastructure, a high-speed internet to keep up with what we intend to do with artificial intelligence. So they allowed the corporations to make money and build out our fiber network and our high-speed network. Now, we're living through what you were experimenting. Jacques Vallée. We're living through what you were studying and developing in 1953. Is that a correct statement?
Well, I wasn't, I'm only a kid then, but the point is I was, it's like they were putting stuff in my subconscious with the...
Oh, no. Oh, they disconnected us.
They were having this conversation and he was about to reveal some more and they cut him off. Oh, wow. That says a lot right there, ladies and gentlemen, does it not? But the fact that this guy learned about and was studying artificial intelligence back in 1953 when he was 13 years old, right? Post quantum computing, the corporations were building out the fiber optic networks, right? Just like I was revealing to you a couple of shows ago about quantum key distribution, how they can teleport the current rate of information into our fiber optics now. So that's about to get a whole bunch more crazier, ladies and gentlemen. So these technologies, now that we have the infrastructure of not only our high-speed networks, but also quantum computing, because we had never reached that level until now. And then artificial intelligence is on top of that, making this exponentially faster. That's why this is a year of acceleration. You're going to see all kinds of stuff get crazy within the next 3. Absolutely. I don't know what's going to come out first, robotics or this alien tech stuff, right? But I know one thing, it's going to get really crazy of the conversations that are going to start coming out and what the origins are of this stuff, ladies and gentlemen. But like I said, I don't believe that any of this is alien tech. I believe it's all been here right here on Earth, and that any of these beings that are going to come out, if they release any, are going to be fallen angel demonic beings, right? And I think one of the things that they're going to be talking about is fallen angel technology. And there's somebody that I've introduced to you before. His name is Joseph Z, and he talks about how this stuff will start to come to its origins as it gets revealed. Let's check out what he has to say.
Are believing, and through reports and all of it, and I've had recent scenarios of understanding about some of this as well, because we've prophesied this for some time, is there's going to be this UFO disclosure. Not like we've seen before, where it's going to be an actual announcement. Now, we've heard this before. It doesn't mean it's going to happen exactly in the time frame now everybody's saying it will, but this could happen somewhere between now and July. Now, if that begins to happen, where the White House or the president or somebody with authority stands up and says, we are not alone in the universe, this is going to be a massive confusion, massive false flag, all of it, even though they have verifiable evidence, empirical evidence, and whistleblowers and people that will say, yes, I've experienced this, I've seen non-human entities, I have firsthand account, and they begin to bring proof. Even with the proof, the scientific empirical proof, there will still be the fact that much of this is a mechanism of absolute falsehood. In other words, what is the real source of what people are proving is real? They might have proof, it might be empirical, it might be physical proof, and something undeniable to the natural-minded people, but you got to realize the origin of all of it. The origin, let me just say this over here, just put it up here for us. The origin of alien, UFO, underwater UAPs, bases, whatever they bring out, it is absolutely, if it's not tech, which a lot of it could be tech, number one, it could be just tech, heightened tech, where people mistake things they're seeing that's just really next level technology flying around. Number two, it could be a false flag. Like a Project Bluebeam, like a projection, AI that you're only seeing on social media. Or number three, the real stuff has an origin, okay? Has an origin from fallen angel tech. Fallen angel tech that is purposefully being given to man. Okay? And then you're going to hear more and more about reverse engineered gravity. But all of this is to get sympathetic towards this end times deception, okay? In end times deception, people say they're demons. Well, maybe, and maybe they're not demons, but here's the thing. Whether it's tech, false flag, or real supernatural things people are seeing in the sky that are empirical, provable, and measurable, including the discovery of bodies and entities and all of it, you got to remember the origin of this probably comes from the book of Enoch with fallen angel technology that they're reverse engineering with anti-gravity abilities that we're seeing happen.
Now, I want to make a big connection here. So he talks about the origins of fallen angel technology, right? And right before that, he talks about underwater UAPs or bases or technology. Now, this is going to get deep for you guys, but I want to propose the fact that I think one of the things in my thumbnail was made up of James Cameron and Steven Spielberg on the front. Why? In particular, because Steven Spielberg, I can't remember who was talking about it, but Steven Spielberg talked about how he had a dream of a bioluminescent being that he got to meet. And he told his mom about it, and he asked his mom to write a picture. I had talked about this on one of my previous shows. You could look at that thumbnail too, of a female bioluminescent extraterrestrial body, or a gray or a Nordic, whatever you want to talk. Just say it is Avatar, right? Whatever. And then James Cameron also had a dream when he was 19, and he's the one that came up with the movie Avatar, right? But he had to come up with this extraordinary world where these avatar could go into, and the people that were going into the avatar bodies were digital, right? And they can go into this world. Well, if you look closely at my thumbnail, in the background is the world that James Cameron created. It was bioluminescent. So isn't that interesting? Now, ladies and gentlemen, one of the things that are very curious to me is the fact that bioluminescence is something that exists in our deep sea waters. So this is why I drew the connection with what Joseph just said and underwater stuff, right? Connecting it with fallen angel technology. If that's where these fallen angels originally ended up, I think these are one of the elements that could potentially be connected to fallen angel technology as an element that came from its original source, the fallen angels, right? So I want to go into the fact that this bioluminescence, and I didn't pull up these other articles, dang it, but they originally started the study on the bioluminescence. It's a chemical, the bioluminescence itself, and then biofluorescence. Also, they're talking about is a element supposedly that can protect these alien life from nuclear blast type stuff. So there's two elements to this bioluminescence and biofluorescence. But what interested me was when I looked up bioluminescence, and you can go look this up for yourself because I forgot to pull up these articles here, but the origination of bioluminescence is made up of two chemicals, and when they react together, it's what causes deep sea water animals to glow, as well as like fireflies, right? But these two elements is what sparked my curiosity, because one is called luciferin and the other one is called luciferase. Now, why would scientists, because in the Latin it means to bring to light, right? And when you read scripture, you understand that when Satan shows himself here on this earth, he shows himself as an angel of the light. It's an element, it's a deception to come against the people, right? So that he can fool human beings into coming with him, because ultimately his goal is to keep us from eternal life with Christ. So that really sparked my curiosity. Luciferin and luciferase, they named the bioluminescence with these two chemicals exactly like that. Now I want to show you these couple of articles that I pulled up, namely because it talks about the evidence of bioluminescence and how long it's been here, which has also sparked my curiosity. So hold on, let me adjust my screen here and see if I can make this a little bit bigger for you guys. Let's go with this one. Yeah, there we go. All right. So new evidence suggests bioluminescence has been present in animals for at least 450 million years. Now, if you believe in the prehistoric and if the Earth has been here that long, then that makes sense, right? Anyways, the point being, it's been here for a very, very long time. Now, I'm only going to read the first part of this article because there's a part here really early on that is really interesting to read. So according to NOAA, which is Office of Ocean Exploration and Research, bioluminescence is the production and emission of light by a living organism. It is frequently found in ocean creatures who have evolved to have this unique property. According to Andrea Quattrini of the Smithsonian's National Museum of Natural History, go figure, the Smithsonian, right? The one that's supposedly hiding some of this supernatural evidence that we may have already found so that the people can't understand where our origins came from or how things happen in biblical times, stuff like that. They've hidden a lot of it, is what the word is, right? So it's interesting here that somebody from the National Museum of Natural History is the one writing this article. The ultimate reason behind the ability is still unknown. So they don't understand why these animals received this light in deep sea origins. Isn't that interesting? Quattrini and his colleagues recently published a paper in Proceedings of the Royal Society B, illuminating the prehistoric past of bioluminescent sea life. It turns out the ability existed at least 540 million years ago in octocorals. Okay, so now that was the first article that I wanted to show you guys. And I got another one here that I want to read into just to show you guys a little bit further of the kind of things they've been doing with this bioluminescence for a very long time with our scientists. And then I'm going to reveal to you exactly what they found by doing these studies. And in this article here at the very end, it shows a little bit of a clue of what actually happened when they went above and beyond with their research. So check this one out. I don't know why it keeps doing that. Well, I can't adjust my screen because it's being all funky right now. Okay, I'm just going to read. 7 genetically modified animals that glow in the dark. This is no party trick. These radiant sheep, dogs, and cats help further research of human diseases. So this is what they talk about when they say that AI is going to advance. This is one of the things that they're going to be using as a tool to trigger and notice diseases within our bodies by using elements like this. So that's one of the things that's super revealing about this whole thing. So sheep, good news, nighttime shepherds, sheep can now glow in the dark. Well, technology, only 9 of the woolly animals can, and they're in Uruguay. When these sheep were born in October 2012, so it wasn't that long ago, ladies and gentlemen, Scientists at the Animal Reproductive Institute of Uruguay immediately injected them with the green protein found in the Victoria jellyfish. As the sheep grew, they looked and acted like any four-legged balls of fluff, except that they gave off a greenish glow after being exposed to certain ultraviolet light. Checking them out. Typically, these green fluorescent proteins are used to monitor the activity of altered genes. They have proved to be a great help in the study of diseases. See what I told you? In fact, the method's scientific pioneers were awarded the Nobel Prize for Chemistry in 2008. In the case of these sheep, scientists hope that one day they'll be able to use this sort of procedure to create animals with super health boosting milk. Here, a look back at the radiant animals at the center of these genetic studies throughout the last decade. A rabbit. This endeavor was actually an artistic one. Edward Kack is an artist known to use genetic engineering techniques to create unique living works of art. In May 2000, Kack introduced the world to his GFP bunny, an albino rabbit named Alba that glowed fluorescent when exposed to blue light. Alba was actually just one component of the project, which was also supposed to include a public debate about the practice of manipulating genes in animals for research. Kack wanted to conclude the project by taking Alba home to live with his family. A research institute in France actually created the rabbit for Kack. The fluorescent jellyfish protein was injected into a fertilized rabbit egg and later hesitated over releasing the animal due to protests from animal rights groups over Alba's very creation. The scientists also claimed that they never agreed for Kack to take the bunny home. 2 years after Alba was born, and long before Alba could make her trip to the States, the unique rabbit died. An abrupt end to the battle between science and art. In 2008, scientists in Taiwan claimed to have a world first, pigs that glowed from the inside out. While other researchers had bred partially fluorescent pigs, these genetically modified pigs had not only glowing skin and eyes, but also organs, including the heart. Scientists added DNA from the fluorescent jellyfish to more than 260 pig embryos, which were then implanted into 8 different sows, 4 of which became pregnant. The result was 3 male piglets whose eyes, teeth, and snouts had a slightly greenish tint during the day, but would glow entirely green in the dark after being introduced to a blue light. Number 4, monkeys. Newborn transgenic marmosets, Kai and cow, and their feet under ultraviolet light, so their feet glowed. In this 2009 study, the same jellyfish DNA injected was used, but not for different purposes. Scientists in Japan wanted to see if the jellyfish gene was inherited by the second generation of a genetically modified monkey. The team at the Central Institute for Experimental Animals in Kawasaki, Japan, added a fluorescent gene to the marmoset embryos, which were then transferred into surrogate females who produced 5 live births. All of the modified marmosets carried the genes in their body. When they produced offspring, 2 passed the fluorescent gene onto their young. This was the first time a genetically modified animal passed such genes down a generation. Researchers said it could be a major step in understanding Parkinson's and motor neuron disease. See, so they're using this thing to target diseases, and it can see them, right? Dogs. A 3-month-old beagle glows in the dark under ultraviolet light, but looks like any other puppy in the daylight. In 2009, experiment by a Seoul National University reportedly produced the first transgenic dog. 5 beagles were created by cloning fibroblast cells that express a red fluorescent gene produced by sea anemones. Under natural light, you can see the faint essence of the red protein under the pale skin. In the dark and under an ultraviolet light, the dogs glow a reddish orange. The 5 healthy dogs eventually grew to spawn their own fluorescent offspring. The experiment was meant to prove the principle for transgenic animals, particularly dogs. Isn't it crazy? Like, we got all this trans stuff. Who thought you would even hear about transgenic, huh? But this kind of thing that's going on. Due to their lifespan and reproductive cycle, are good stand-ins for human disease research. 2 years later, a team at the same university bred a beagle named Tegan, whose fluorescent gene could be controlled. It can be controlled, ladies and gentlemen. When the dog eats food containing a doxycycline antibiotic and then is exposed to ultraviolet light, it glows green. When the drug is no longer added to the food, the glow eventually fades. Scientists say the study opens opportunities for better understanding genes that trigger fatal diseases like Alzheimer's and Parkinson's in humans. Cats. A glowing kitten stands next to a normal cat. Cats are susceptible to a close relative of HIV called feline immunodeficiency virus. The viral disease infects mostly feral cats, of which there are reportedly 500 million in the world. In a 2011 study, a team of scientists from the US and Japan inserted a gene into cats that helped them resist this feline form of AIDS. Then, to be able to easily mark the cells, scientists also inserted the green fluorescent protein. Both genes were transferred into feline eggs. They were then able to more readily monitor how the resistant gene developed in the cats' bodies when looking at them under a microscope. Like the other animals, the cats appeared normal during the day but could glow at night if prompted. Fish. One of the biggest downsides to helpful industrial products like, say, plastic or female contraceptives is that they contain bad chemicals called endocrine disruptors. These substances become pollutants that harm animal and human bodies, ladies and gentlemen. They have reportedly been associated with lower sperm counts and breast and testicular cancers. So you can see why scientists may want to study them. The problem has been that it is difficult to track endocrine disruptors once they enter the body, and so a team of scientists use green fluorescent proteins and genetically engineered zebrafish to glow in places where an endocrine disrupting chemical is present. As we've previously illustrated, the fluorescent protein doesn't interfere with the body, but when studied under a microscope, they can be easily found. The glowing green areas within the fish then become a roadmap for scientists homing in on pollutants' potential health impacts. Now, when Joseph talked about this is something they're going to be giving humans, I believe, ladies and gentlemen, this is one of the fallen angel technologies that they are already giving. If you paid attention there, this actual bioluminescent chemical is what they found in research that triggers genes and was used particularly in the mRNA vaccine, ladies and gentlemen. So do we already have bioluminescence chemicals in us for those of us that took the vaccine with these spike proteins? Because that's what they were doing, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what they're still doing. Who knows how far they've gone and what lengths they've done to use this to make it look like they're doing something good, right? And now we're going to have this so-called disclosure, right? Where aliens are going to be revealed, that that alien life is going to be prevalent on our planet. And I think they're going to try, just like I said in my other shows, that they're going to be some sort of benevolent being that is super intelligent, right? Go figure. And I think they're going to glow. Isn't that crazy? That's a crazy theory. But hey, you know, this whole talk of aliens are going to be revealed and UFOs are real now, like that, if that doesn't strike you as crazy already from the time that you were a kid, I mean, this guy that Pete Santilli had on had been studying this kind of thing since he was 13, way back in the 1950s, even before that, right? I was showing you some of the people that have been studying quantum physics from way back when. And now all of this stuff is coming full circle. And these are the kind of things that we're going to start seeing come out in this so-called disclosure. And it's not a coincidence, ladies and gentlemen, that when you read the Revelation account, that one of the beings, one of the beasts, right? I think the second one. I think it's the second one that comes up out of the water. Interesting. So if I were you, I would tag this video here because you heard it first right here at Redline Live. Please leave some comments in the chats. Tell me what you think about what I just revealed, and let me know if you think this is something that could be possible with all of this craziness and the different technologies that are actually coming out now with quantum computing. I think this is one of the bigger reveals that we're going to see come out. And I just think I kind of wanted to get ahead of the game, you know, because I believe that this is something that has been floating in the background, floating just like in the water, right? Supposedly, you know, we got reveals that are coming that Eric Burlinson had already talked about. I don't know if you guys have been looking into this, but he had already been talking about the fact that we have this massive vehicle that they have found, right? Probably a crash site in some other country that they built a building around to conceal it because they can't move it. I don't, if it's a UFO, right? They're not going to be able to fly it because it's crashed and it's broken. So they built a building around it. And some people think that it's this place in Japan where it's a big round disc, right? But the reports are saying that, no, that's not the place. At any rate, they're doing their darndest right now to keep this on the down low until whoever is going to come out with this full disclosure is going to reveal it, which is really going to make this interesting all the way up until it is actually revealed. So I just want to bring that to you guys today because I thought all of this talk in the suspense in it all, Barack coming out and then being, you know, looking like a fool because then the White House backed up the fact that there really hasn't been any knowledge of such things, especially on Trump's part, at least with his correspondent there at the White House. And Caroline Levitt coming out and saying, but she hasn't heard anything, right? So it must not be true. And I have to admit, I am kind of on this bandwagon that I don't think Trump is going to be the one to reveal it. And it's also interesting to me that we're on the verge of this conflict with Iran, right? And thinking about the fact that bioluminescence is one thing, but then biofluorescence, if you look it up, and study on it, they're saying that biofluorescence acts as some kind of shield for this alien life form against nuclear blast. Now, why would they have to do that? And if you've been paying attention to all of those experts out there that say they know what's going to be disclosed, they're talking about the fact that, and I brought this up before, that a nuclear blast has to happen here on this planet in order for the aliens to be revealed. And like I said before, as if it wouldn't be shocking enough for the world's population to be revealed to something that was supposedly not from this planet, right? We have to do some sort of nuclear blast, so everybody's already in fear and shock, so that when the alien is revealed, it's not so shocking. That's interesting to me. So biofluorescence, maybe the nuclear blast is going to uncover these alien UFOs that are supposedly on the ground, right? You're going to reveal them, and they're going to come walking out of this nuclear blast in a bioluminescent glow because they're protected from biofluorescence. Don't dog on it, ladies and gentlemen. Don't dog on it, because I think it's coming. I know it's all crazy talk, but I think it's fun. It's very interesting to me. And it's going to be shocking. I think we need to have some semblance of commonality in talking about this stuff. And not that I want to normalize it, but I think we need reveals that could be grounded in understanding, just like Joseph was talking about, the origins of where these things came from. So when these institutions are saying they're studying it, but they don't actually know where the origins came from, ladies and gentlemen, the fact that bioluminescence is called Luciferin and Luciferis by these scientists, to me, that is totally revealing exactly where it came from. And they are demons, fallen angels, whatever you want to call them. They're from the spirit realm. So there's a reason why some of these Congress people are coming out and saying they're interdimensional, right? And I happen to think that this element is one of those things that will allow us to see them. Yep. Because since the Nephilim, they haven't been able to occupy bodies. And according to my research, there's no way that they've made some sort of biological life form. Well, it would have to be dead. I mean, I think they can clone a human being, but it would just basically be a meat suit. So if these fallen angels can occupy that meat suit, then maybe that's a possibility. But I don't know. According to my research, they can't do that. It would have to be some sort of robotics, or maybe a cyborg, a human computer cross. Or if this fallen angel technology can actually now glow because they found this element deep within the ocean. Who knows? Who knows? I think maybe it originally came from them. But either way, I think whatever being is going to be revealed, it will be glowing from this element. Mark my words. So it's time to draw the red line in your life, the red line in your mind. Oh, it's hard to draw that red line, isn't it? And the red line against this world system. Thank you for joining me today, ladies and gentlemen, and we'll see you next time on Red Line Live. Check you later.